This is a brand new Kia Niro EV Wind. So that's the base trim, and for a base trim, it is still very well equipped. I have a 2016 Kia Soul electric, and the battery is being replaced under warranty. So I've been able to drive this for the past week as a rental, and it's going to be hard to go back to an EV with under 100 miles of range. Makes me want a car payment. I really like this orange color on it. It's nice. I like the overall size. It's slightly bigger than the Soul, but is definitely considered a subcompact by today's standards. I like they're easier to park. It rides really smooth. It has a little bit of road noise because it is an electric vehicle. You just hear a lot more. And I drove also a Mach-E, and that was definitely a lot quieter. You can tell that is a electric-based vehicle. Some things I like right here. The charge port is right up front, which I like. Has your J plug and your CCS. These plugs are a little cheaper. I'm going to show you a quicker look at it right now. The Kia Soul I had a nice orange or yellow port here, and it had like a cushion. See how this is like loose? And look at this. That's going to break eventually. Seems like they really cheaped out on that. Look at, like, there's a little moisture right there. Not a huge fan. I think they really cheaped out on this connector. Of course, you pull them both off and you have your CCS, which is a big step up from the Chidemo that's in the Soul I had. Haven't had the opportunity to test the fast charging. Haven't needed to. I plan to, but I guess my battery's getting replaced already, so I'm probably going to have to take it back today or Monday. And I charge it home. It charges it up to 11 kilowatts on level 2, so that's plenty of range. My charger goes up to 9.6, and you're adding like 30 to 40 miles of range per hour. Overall, I like this. This does lock, but this is plastic right here, and it'll tell you if it's charging right here. It has weird things like you can have a voice that says charging has started. I like that it comes with smaller wheels. I don't know why a subcompact, supposedly like entry-level EV, they all need 18s or 20s. These are 17s, so you still get some sidewall. I live out here in the country. Ground clearance is good for these crappy country roads. I like the little black accent. Has some other funny things on here. Interesting, like look at this arrow wing on some of the other models. See, that actually passes through for arrow, which is pretty trick. On some other models, you can get this whole piece painted a different color, which looks kind of nice, but I'm not a huge fan of. Taillights look cool. Has more arrow right here, and it's very efficient compared to that box I was driving on the highway. It's not as big of a detriment trying to go 70 plus than on your range or efficiency. I like to think of things as efficiency, and I took this up to San Jose, which is like 60 miles away each way, and I got over 4 miles per kilowatt the whole trip. The way back, I drove a little bit more aggressively, used the AC more, and got like 3.7. There was traffic. Power lift gate is nice. You got your parking sensors. Trunk drops down, so you have more storage than you'd think, especially if you fold these seats back. Because it is up, it is a little harder to put large dog in here, but he can make do. And this is a lot more space than the Soul had. Nice deep trunk. You have even more space down here. If you look at that, you can put a charging cable down here. It even looks like you could probably fit a small spare tire, which of course almost no cars come with anymore, especially EVs. You got a nice handle right here and power close. Taillight design's pretty neat. Wraps around like this. I like that they still have door handles. That's something I'm not a huge fan of on most EVs. And you still have your, remote entry, keyless entry. Good, manual passenger seat. Has a power with driver seat with lumbar. And I like that it has leather on the outside, or fake leather. They call it vegan leather. That just means fake leather. The cloth in here. We have heated seats. One of the biggest thing I don't like about it, this piano black here on the doors and everywhere is it's gonna look like crap really quick. It just gets scuffed up. You can see I have the Pony out here. It's dusty. This gets full of dust, fingerprints. This car only has 12,000 miles. I've only driven it for like 200-300 miles. Look how scratched up that all looks. There's also nowhere to put your sunglasses, which I hate. This storage is weird. Sorry, I didn't clean out the car. So like there's no storage here. You can take out this divider. These cup holders, they do that, which is nice. You can fit like a big one here if you need to, but it's not really going to be secure. But not my favorite center console. Not much storage. We do have a wireless charging pad right there for your phone, which works. It's plenty big. The glove box is also small. Center vents look nice. This illuminates at night. You can kind of see it flashing right there. That's nice. Let's go on to some other things I like and don't like. So in the vehicle, we still have a normal start-stop button, which I like. Then we have this rotary dial, which is okay. Electric parking brake. You press it down. I thought I wouldn't like this as much, but it works fine. I really like that you still have a button. I don't like this. I like EVs, but I don't like this EV stuff where it just starts itself. Cool stuff. I like the gauge display, except the steering wheel kind of blocks it. And then you can change the drive modes, and it'll tell you the different range on each drive mode. And it also changes the whole cluster. You can also change them independently or on drive mode. There's a bunch of stuff to do in the infotainment to change the car how you want. I like that we still have buttons here to access some of the stuff. It has adaptive cruise, which works pretty well. I wish I could just put on normal cruise. The lane keep assist works okay. And then we just, you can change, you can open the hatch right here, which is nice. I like the feel of these, slide them back and forth. So check out the drive modes. You can go into normal. You see how the range dropped a little bit, then sport. So if you put in sport mode, because there's these sporty graphics and it changes the throttle mapping, definitely made it feel a lot faster, but it is going to take a little range off. In my opinion, if you're buying a subcompact EV, you want it to be as efficient and energy efficient as possible. Cost you the least amount of money. But you could easily this it says I think like 254 miles of range, 60 something kilowatt hour battery pack. I've been getting 4 miles per kilowatt about average. And you also have a snow mode, which is interesting. I think that makes it so you can't jam on the throttle, makes it a little easier. You hold it to go into snow mode. Then we're in snow. That's how that looks. I'm in California. Don't think I'll need that. Go back to Eco. And watch, if you turn on, this is the thing I hate the most about it. This whole button here. You can still use the screen. You can go into EV. Tells you some cool stuff. Tells you your battery. Tells you your closest charging center. It makes it a little... I don't trust any of these mappings on the electric cars other than Tesla. You should use PlugShare and the actual apps. You can go in here and schedule your charging. You can derate your charger. You can change where you want your how high you want it to charge to. You can go into climate. There's all this stuff. So you can use the touch screen. It is nice that they still have buttons, but they cheap out, and this is like this on all of the Hyundai and Kia products. EV6, Ioniq 5 all uses this similar screen to save money. So right now we're in this mode. Then to go to climate, you go here, and then you're doing your AC, and then you can see we have the AC on. Let's turn the AC on. You can see range drop from 192 to 187. So I saw between 5 to 10 mile range drop running the AC. So not a huge amount. You can also put eco mode on the climate, and that's going to save energy a little bit. All kinds of different options in here. But the thing I don't like is you have to toggle this. If then I want to listen to the radio and hit media, I go here and use this. Of course, there's ones on the steering wheel, but it just forgets. So I can't tell you how many times, especially when I started driving this car, that I would do this and then I'd turn the AC on or off, which is annoying. I don't really like that separate thing. It's a cost cutting measure. I guess the benefit is if they didn't have that, there'd probably be no buttons at all, and you'd have to just use the screen. I think eventually you'd get used to it, but not my favorite. The driver's seat, we do have, power adjustable front, back, tilting, and not four-way lumbar, just two-way. So it pushes it up a little bit, down a little bit. Wish it had a little side bolstering. I find the seat comfortable. It looks like it'll wear fairly well considering this is a rental car. Uh, I like this cloth inner. Overall, I'd say it's been a good car. Overall, my final thoughts on this Kia Niro, I think it's a great first EV. My biggest gripe with it is the price. Everything works. If you're coming from an internal combustion car, this would be a pretty smooth transition. The DC fast charging isn't the fastest. Of course, I didn't test that, but just looking at what other people say and the specs, it's going to be a lot slower than your Teslas, your EV6s, but this is a lower price point. There is some good deals, especially on leases on these right now, but I think it's also really well equipped considering this is a base model. You can't really get them any cheaper than this, and it has a lot of features. I don't really know what I would want from the Wave, which is the higher trim one. I think it has a little bit better sound system. This one's not the greatest. It's not terrible. It's definitely livable. But I like the styling on it. I like how it rides. I like how it drives. The seats are a little firm for longer drives. They're not the best. I sat in a Mach-E and that was just like, you can tell it was designed by the people that just, American car manufacturers, felt more like a lazy boy compared to this. These are definitely very comfortable for your average driving, but when you're starting to drive, an hour plus, they get a little firm and uncomfortable, especially on the bottom. It's firm. It's a lot even more firm than my Kia Soul. Of course, that car is also newer. Maybe they're a little more broken in. That's the top trim. I think they're just a little nicer overall, especially the bottom cushion is just a little firm on these. There has to be cost cutting, especially, compared to my old Sierra Denali, very comfortable seats. It's just a little bit. Overall, driving dynamics are good. Faster than I thought. It's fun to drive. I like it. It's just, with no federal tax credit and the slower charging, it just seems like there's better options. I think it is a little more refined than, say, a Chevy Bolt or a Nissan Leaf, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh, am I going to spend that little bit more money on this, or just spend a little bit more and just get like, a Mach-E, an EV6, a Tesla, 3 or Y. It's just hard to do that, especially without getting any federal tax credits. There is all these local incentives as well. And most of all, I just recommend, I'm a lifelong car guy. I have all these crappy trucks. I've worked on trucks, old Impalas, everything my whole life. And EVs has been fun to play around with. The driving dynamics, how it drives, the cost of driving that allows me to work on my old cars and buy all the parts I need to them is great. I just recommend giving it a try if you are like one of those, EVs are terrible. I mean, they make a great daily driver. I'm not looking for fun and noise driving my 5-year-old around. Something like this is the best. It's a good size for one kid. 2, they can start kicking your seats a little bit. You might want something a little bigger, but it would definitely work. And, with the hatchback, it's super usable. Overall, I think it's a nice car. I think I've crossed it off my list of potential new EVs, which I'm not even sure if I want to buy the EV or not. I really like not having a car payment. But going to this that has, 240, 250 miles of range, and I do think that is real world driving range. It opened up the areas here we're able to go without thinking about it. I'm able to take the Kia Soul up to San Jose, which is like, 60, 70 miles away. And then hopefully there's a charger there or a charger near that I have to charge on the way back. That I can charge when I'm parked there, because they are abundant in San Jose, but not having to and not having to have that worry. I mean, I went up to San Jose, took my kid to Legoland, and it still had 80% battery. By the time I got home, I had like 57%. That's not even a thought. I still had more range than my Kia Soul, like almost double the range my Kia Soul has with a full charge. So not having to think about that is nice, but then also not having to think of a car payment is nice. So it's going to be a hard choice for me, but I hope you follow along. If you like this, hit subscribe. If you are a Kia Niro owner, I'd like to hear your thoughts and how you like your car and why you chose it over something else. And I hope this video helps you with your shopping decision.